She still can't even stand.
She's so wobbly.
Zhang Weili is furious.
She's upset. But 100%. 100%.
Post pay-per-view weekend. How the hell you guys doing? Welcome into a brand new edition of Axe Kick Picks, episode 155. Today is Friday the 13th, 2024. Joe, how you doing today, kid?
It's good luck if you're Italian. You know what I'm saying?
You know what I'm saying?
Unless you're Luigi. But hey, not much notable taking place in the boxing world this weekend. Seems that they're gearing up for next week's heavyweight rematch. But in other events, Cage Fury Fighting Championship 138, Brave CF 91 and 92. They're doing a doubleheader this weekend. Cage Warriors 182 is, I think, today later. Invicta 59, Fury FC 99, and ACA 182. So, it's loaded besides the focal point being on UFC Tampa tomorrow evening.
Real quick, I do want to mention something off the top. Santa Claus came a little early. Garfield's own, New Jersey's own, Dickie V Baby has come back clean. He is clean of cancer. So just want to give a shout out to my boy Dickie V.
Jimmy, month and everything as well.
Yeah.
It's going to be a better time.
So, yeah, he said thanks to everyone for saying your prayers. He's obviously going to be cutting down the nets, obviously. I mean, his fight, he just never gives up. That's the whole message for Jimmy V. So, he's free at last. So, thankfully, I just wanted to get some positive news out there. Santa Claus came a little early today.
He's a man I would absolutely not, we have all these ideas and dreams about interviewing people. He's just a man that I would just want to have a conversation with, just
absolutely.
sit around the dinner table. Or, whatever it is, if it's in his own little, man cave or his office and just learning everything this man has to offer. I mean, he's a wealth of knowledge. I would
gem of a man. Absolutely. On and off the court. And he's done so much for the fight of cancer, for the game of basketball as well.
Our hometown.
Yeah, in our hometown. So definitely lucky for that. But kid, we got a great episode. We'll recap UFC 310. Alexander Pantoja, man, what a fucking beast. We got UFC Tampa preview and picks. Last card on the year. We got some news. A lot of fights were announced. We got some retirements as well. 10 seconds left in the PFL. Joe will take care of that. So, Joe, we got a loaded show. I want to start back last week, UFC 310. The main event. Alexander Pantoja gets a submission win over Kai Asakura in the second round. 2 minutes and 5 seconds. I mean, this guy all week, he looked stoic. He looked like he mean business, the buzz cut. And, granted, I liked it. I thought Kai Asakura came out flashy, in the beginning, a lot of volume. But I love Pantoja coming out and saying, you thought this guy from RZA was going to come here into the UFC and take my belt? He ties Demetrius Johnson for the most wins in flyweight history. I mean, that's a record book in itself doing that. And that's one of the guys on Mount Rushmore. So what a submission win. Before we move forward, thoughts on the fight? And thoughts on Kai Asakura in this bantamweight division, because I do think there are some fights that he can win. He debuted at number 14 right now in the flyweight division.
Yeah,
flyweight.
Brother, I liked him. I like the character. I like the personality he presented. He was talking about Royal Honey Packs with Nina drama. I mean, that was fucking hilarious. So he won me over with that. But I'm just looking over, like you said, at the other side, and I'm just looking at an absolute killer in Pantoja, bro. Like someone who's been highly disrespected, and Brian, we talked about it prior to the show. He was ranked 11th pound for pound. This is a top 5 pound for pound fighter in the world, and arguably one of the best flyweight fighters we've ever seen. Like you said, next. Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson, man. I mean, there's no denying it. Now the dude is a Hall of Famer. I've known this from years to come. I just saw this dude just coming. He was an inevitable force that was going to take over this weight class, especially when they moved on from DJ. And the jiu-jitsu was always there. And the fact that he's rounded out of this game with that, bro, he came out looking like a tight Muay Thai dude. Like everything that Kai Asakura was doing out there, it's kind of like Nick and Nate Diaz were like, oh, you're throwing spinning shit now. I like to take an homage to, Indiana Jones. You remember that one scene where the dude's throwing all this flashy stuff with the swords and bro just pulls a pistol out and ends it. So that's what I thought. I saw Kai Asakura's coming out with all this flashy stuff and it has the chance to hurt you and do damage. But bro, basics work. Fundamentals are king. And Pantoja said, frick all that so foolishness and silliness and all that flashy stuff. It's not going to work against me. I'm going to come out there tight with my guard, with that leg kick, Muay Thai leg kick, throwing up in the air. And if it goes to the ground, I know I have the advantage there, so I don't care about throwing my leg kicks. And then when he initiated grappling, bro, it
was
just
over.
showed. He was light years ahead of Kaya Sakura on the mat, bro. That arm triangle, bro, was so deep, bro. He just looked so ferocious. Like there's no denying him in there. It really, he came out to prove who he is as a man and who he is as a fighter. I mean, he's something special. And
I'm sorry, are you surprised he finished him? Because I'm not. Watching Pantoja and watching some film on Kaya Sakura, it doesn't surprise me that he did finish him.
No, absolutely. And, the MMA math, you said that he got those fights back, Kaya Sakura, but it did add up. He lost to those guys that had a little strong wrestling or, a Manel Cap that, is a very high level fighter who we're going to see and talk about this weekend. So the fact that he lost to them and Pantoja swept the floor with him could kind of give an insight to the level that Pantoja's at. I think that it's just kind of another coming of DJ. He is running that division right now, and there's questions to who can come and challenge him.
Now, I love the call out. Demetrius Johnson definitely came back and said, "You call him my black ass out?" He goes, "I ain't no amount of money."
Bro's out here doing side missions, Mighty Mouse, bro. He's out there shooting with Brendan Herrera. He's
training with Habib and Islam right now. I mean, this guy, and he said it on the Ariel Helwani show. He said, you know what? I'm practicing and really finding and first of all, he's under contract to one. He has to talk to Chatri about that, even if he wanted to, which I think Chatri probably would.
And it seems that UFC would want to do cross promotion with only Rizin. I think that PFL.
Oh, you saw him sitting right next to him.
Yes, we're competition. So the fact that one, it's not really going to work. I feel like, Dana White's only open to work with those who he could possibly control. And unfortunately, that might be Rizin.
My thing also is the UFC and Dana White, even if hypothetically, if he did come back and win Mighty Mouse, the UFC doesn't like people coming back and then retiring, because then what does that do for the belt? You know what I mean?
And that's what he just did at one. He's retired.
Exactly. So, and also Dana White, you know this way better than I do, but he really him and DJ don't really have the best relationship, him in the UFC. I mean,
and DJ doesn't need him, nor does he need one. And he did what he did for their organization, for both organizations, and for the sport of fighting. But you heard it from the horse's mouth. DJ goes, I'm going to have a long career of competing in jiu-jitsu now. And
exactly.
He can make money doing that. And he can also go and train and prepare and teach the next generation of Joe's jiu-jitsu.
He's really, his journey now is jiu-jitsu with the no gi and the gi as well. You see him competing. He's going to have a competition within the next few months as well, he said. So he's just really trying to hone in and elevate his horizon right now in his toolbox and sharpen all the tools. He has a great YouTube channel as well. I love the call out because at the end of the day, if you really look at it, outside of Legacy and outside of, I guess, Kai Kara France, he's beaten everyone. He's literally lapped this division. So we even saw him maybe go up to bantamweight. I don't know if that happens, but I think spinning it forward, I love to see Kai Kara France next. I think that is a good fight. Outside of that, kid, who maybe if Manel Cap goes out there and starches this guy we'll talk about in a minute. Maybe him. We saw them give Steve Erceg a shot, but
because he would, if he beat Makayev, he would have been on trajectory to get the title shot.
Bring back Makayev.
Yeah, bring him back. Nah, he's gonna have to do some work in his hand. But I know the conversation shifted off these two guys in the main event. But DJ, I just see that he is now off of this. It was a great call out. But I see the legacy, the lineage that he has. He learned from Matt Hume, who was a great, challenger fighter in his time and taught one of the greatest fighters of all time in Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson. I'm sure that he'll take that lineage and go on, like I said, teaching the next generation, whoever that may be, maybe the next superstar.
Now on the other side with Kai Sakura, like I said, he did debut at number 14. What do you see next for him? Because I think there are a lot of winnable
fights. They can do anything with him.
Yeah, Charles Johnson, Bruno Silva.
Throw him against Tatsuro Taira.
Oh, wow.
In Japan next year.
Oh, yeah. That's a good
I know
call.
that the ranking's a little soft, but we saw Taira get exposed a little bit. And Kaya Sakura did put up a good fight in that first round. It's just
he did.
The levels got sparingly. You see that with some of the depth with college sports and pro sports. If that depth's there as the fight goes on, as the game goes on, you can see the disparity between the two. So we could see if Tyra's really a top 5 flyweight fighter if he fights Kyle Sakura.
What about the guy that we just saw last week on the same card, Joshua Van? He's entered the rankings now too. I think that would be a very fun fight.
Absolutely. Yeah. But then a loss for either guy might knock them out of the top 15. So it may not be what the UFC wants to do, especially
that's
when we
fair.
just talked about guys being lapped in that division. Definitely want to inject some new blood in that weight class.
Do you like the Kai Kara France fight next for
It does make sense, but Brandon Moreno did put up a hell of a case fighting him.
But we've seen that. He's beaten him.
We have. So Kai Kara France has a good case right now.
Yeah,
certainly does.
Coming off that big win as well. So we'll see. I'm glad you brought up Legacy and Mount Rushmore, because next show we will have pound for pound rankings. And to be honest, he's still disrespected. He moved up 2 spots. He was at 11. Now he's at number 9.
You're crazy. AI, Dana White needs to get out, because that's just like sort of what the CFP going ahead and just making suggestions on who should make the playoff, brother. That's not right. We got to
go back to the BCI or BCS.
That computer was smarter.
Yeah, literally. I mean, it's just ridiculous. If Alexander Pantoja is not in your top 5 pound for pound rankings,
I don't think you have.
I can't help. I literally can't help you. I mean, right now you have 2 non-champions ahead of him. How is Leon Edwards ahead of him?
No,
it just doesn't make sense. I mean, we're gonna get into it, and we're gonna reveal our men's and women's pound for pound rankings next week. But yeah, man, it was ridiculous. I'm glad he got the performance of the night as well. He got his bonus, and we do cash our ticket for the last champion for me. So overall, last year, 5-6. Joe, not the best record, but we do get home, and we hit a lot of plus money, kid.
Plus money might have made you stay in the green, brother.
Yeah, I mean, we both hit on the featherweights with Ilia Tapore plus 240.
John Jones both missed.
Yeah, we hit that. The heavyweight John Jones plus 450. We didn't get middleweight. You had Hamzat Shemaev. I had Izzy. We both not there. I get the flyweight with Pantoja at plus 120. You were with Makayev, not even in the company. We good job on. I mean, McGregor. I put McGregor. Conor McGregor for the lightweight. That was ridiculous. I mean, I can't believe I did that. I should have took Islam.
Bro's been indicted twice since we made that prediction. More than
one that's really haunting us is the lightweight with Ankalaev. He should have got his title shot.
Got that title shot. Yeah, at least have it in play. At least had it in play.
Bantamweight we both hit with Merab Dvalishvili at plus 250. That was good. Welterweight, as much as we believe in Bilal, we both took Shavkat. I mean, hey, if they would have fought, we never know. We could have won on that as well.
That was what was lined up to be.
For the women's, the strawweight, Tatiana Suarez plus 140. 0-2. That did not hit. Hey,
could happen next year.
Could happen next year. I was just gonna say. Bantamweight, I do hit with Juliana Pena plus 240. You took Ronda Rousey.
Just like your Conor McGregor pick.
Yeah, we both had that one. And then we both, for the flyweight, we took our hometown girl, Erin Blanchfield, and we do. So you are 4.
She's back.
Yeah. 4-7 for you, 5-6 for me, kid. Overall, though, pretty impressive, I would say.
Yeah, I wouldn't complain for making a prediction at the beginning of the year. I would just hope to improve a little bit looking at the future for 2025.
Speaking of Shavkat Rakhmonov, he gets the unanimous decision win over Ian Machado.
But at what cost?
He was much closer than I thought. Yes, I gave it rounds 1, 2, and 4 to Shavkat. I gave rounds 3 and 5. Clearly, round 5 was Ian Machado Gary. I'll say this, as much as a finisher as Shavkat is, if you watch the fight, Ian Machado Gary was the one closest to finishing the fight. I mean, it was under there, but credit Shavkat for staying calm under that. But I thought he did just enough to win the fight. Much closer. I think he made him human. And a lot of people, they had first of all, the whole Joe Rogan thing with Bilal. They don't know you're the champion. That was fucking hilarious.
They denied it. Yeah, it did.
But
it's remember the name. He has such a forgettable face, I guess.
Yeah. But it shows like he's human, and that Bilal is very live in this match, because Shavkat is going to have the next shot.
Yeah, he's no doubt getting the next chance at 170. But yeah, I mean, the performances that we've seen Bilal do at the level of competition, you got to think nothing else but that he's alive as a dog, because the odds came out and their favorites in Shavkat even after that performance. But I think it was maybe due to Ian Gary's familiarity with the guy. You know, you can't measure the hard determination that somebody has. And I think that, everyone was rooting against Ian Gary, and he just wanted to go out there and prove that he can do it. And he had that, like I said, familiarity fighting Shavkat where no one else has been in there with him. I could see that maybe the first round could go on Shavkat's way. He was styling on him a little bit on the feet, which you didn't expect, throwing out a little bit of his arsenal that he has. Normally he'll try to go in there, take it down, and then just dominate. But, man, when it hit the mat, Ian Gary was, scrambling well. And then, like you said, in that fifth round, he was the closest to finishing by taking his back and almost taking his neck. So, I mean, it was a hell of a fight. It was a really entertaining fight. I scored it that if I could have even saw it that Ian Gary won the second, third, and fifth round. And there's quite possibility that he even won the first. But like I said, the fact that Shavkat came out as comfortable he did, throwing the weapons that he had in the first round, and he definitely for sure won the fourth round. You could see that second round could have been the determining factor on where the judges went with that. But yeah, that's why it was unanimous. It was surprising because I thought it would have been as close as a split. Ian Gary, in my eyes, I thought won that, man. It's damage, putting you in bad, precarious positions, and Ian Gary was the one doing that. Like I said, granted, Shavkat was throwing some tricky stuff out there, but that's not wins you the fight. It's got to land, it's got to do damage, and none of that did, and that's why I did lean Ian Gary. In robbery, I don't think it was bad as maybe the fight before this.
Yeah, I don't want to use the R word with this just because it was so razor close. Like you said, it could have gone either way. But yeah, I think no one's stock goes down, especially Ian Machado Gary's. I mean, if anything, it goes up. But yeah, Shavkat will get the next shot at Bilal Muhammad in that welterweight division. Speaking
of Leon, that's the fight that should make.
I mean, they're not. He said it this week on the Ariel Helwani show. He does not want. He will not. Not he doesn't want to. He will not fight in London. He won't. He will fight in Ireland. Machado Gary, Ian Machado.
But he's gonna get that Leon Edwards fight. That's what I'm hoping.
It makes the most sense. And I still think outside of this loss, I still think if he goes out there and beats a Leon Edwards or a Kamaru Usman, he's right back there. He's right there. So he doesn't lose too much stock.
He has an L gone. He has an L on his record.
I like the Kamaru Usman fight. It makes the most sense for me, in my opinion, just because they were scheduled to fight. They gave him the fight.
Does he want to stay at 170?
Usman? And Kamaru Usman denied it. He said he doesn't want to fight him. And then he goes on and says, who's this guy? Bro, you know who Ian Machado Gary is. Cut it out. At this
point, come on now.
Come on, cut it out. Like, you're on your podcast with Triple C's. Now you're becoming a little cringy now. Kamaru Usman.
It's contagious.
It's contagious at this point. But I like it. So you want to see him against Leon Edwards next.
I do. And I would like to mix it up. You're right. Not have them fight in London. Have them fight in. Let's bring it back to Ireland. Let's have Ian Machado Gary fight card in Ireland. And
I'm sure he won't sell it out?
I was going to say, man, they surely will. And they got a good bunch of fighters they can add on. And if they sign some guys too, or on the up and coming, I'm sure they could build out a good Irish card.
Yeah, 100%. So, very close fight. But Shavkat does win. He will get the fight against Bilal Muhammad next. Talk about robbery. What about, is it Patty Volkov? I mean, with the braids, he looked like Patty Pimlin out there, but just a little bigger. But, split decision does go to Cyril Gane. I mean,
could have been compromised with the broken foot at first, but that still doesn't take away with what the decision was at the end. I do think Volkov did outpoint him. And also with the grappling, I thought he had just a better advantage overall. Volkov, he should have won that fight. I don't know if it was just the judges getting ahead of themselves and scoring for Cyril Gane early, but the third round proved that, it was Volkov's fight to lose.
I scored it rounds 2 and 3. I thought it was very easy to score for Alexander Volkov. And I thought that you could there was a legitimate, I watched it back because I was like, I'm not fucking crazy. I know this one was robbery. And the judges we'll talk about all night were bad, but
did this win fight of the night?
No.
Dude, I'll be honest with you. I was very entertained by the stand-up battle between the two heavyweights, though. Very skillful. It was.
There was no fight of the night. It was just performance of the night. But I'll say this. I went back the next morning and I watched it again. I think there's an argument, Joe, that he won all 3 rounds.
Yeah.
Honestly. Even Cyril Gane and his coach, I'm losing his name, but
I think it's like Marshawn or something like that.
Yes, even him, they were all shocked that they read that it was Cyril Gane who won. He even walked out of the cage.
Yeah, that was weird too. Jerome was like, "What happened? Why did you do?" I was like, Very disappointed. Yeah, I love Shogun though. He's one of the funniest guys, bro. I got.
And even Dana White came out and said you got hosed, and I hope Dana White, because you know that sucks. You win 5 in a row, could have been 6 in a row, and maybe one more from a fight from Tom Aspinall or John Jones.
True.
And now you're back in the red. That's very unfortunate. I hope Dana White in the UFC does right by Alexander Volkov, because he won that fight. And I'll say this: that was a robbery. It wasn't even close, I thought.
I mean, yeah, you're in a very precarious position where he's at in that heavyweight division.
Yeah, I mean, look at it. I mean, Cyril Gane, we don't know what's next for him. He wound up showing that he broke a few of his toes in that fight, but
Pretty nasty.
What's next for Alexander Volkov? We see Curtis Blades just got a fight. Sergey
That's what I mean. I'm like a little thrown asunder with that division right now, with them not moving. Literally, everything just stayed the same there.
Very unfortunate.
Very weird.
Maybe they run it back.
Maybe they run it back. Yeah.
Maybe, who the fuck knows? But yeah, that gave me a bad taste, because I had plus
third
275.
It'd be a third time.
Fuck it, third time's the charm, like they say. I mean, I had the plus 275 in my pocket. I'm sitting there like, oh yeah, we're gonna cash out. We're gonna make some money tonight.
Cyril Gane. And you're late.
And I was like, I'm going to sleep. No, I'm just kidding.
But sure, disappointed with that previous fight.
Yeah, I mean, the fight before. Shout out Bryce Mitchell. The earth might be fucking flat, kid.
Oh,
what a performance! I mean, I think he was knocked out when he slammed him,
or very concussed.
Yeah, and
are we arm shiver to the canvas mat? Like, that is an unforgiving surface. Is not like the WWE with the springboard.
Yeah,
he felt every bit of that slam.
Are we done with Kron Gracie, please?
Have to be. And you know what? Even if we're not, I think he should be done with fighting, because it has not done well for him. Being the son of Rickson Gracie, we would expect a little higher level of competition from the guy. But man, it just seems that it hasn't gone his way out there, and it's worrisome for his health. Like, taking the fights that he has, the punishment that he has, and this is the first time we've seen him go out like that. That was very brutal from a guy who's not known to do that to anybody. I think that was his first career knockout finish for Bryce Mitchell, and in such devastating fashion. He basically took everything that he got from Josh Emmett and gave it right back to Kron Gracie.
That's a good point. Yeah, I mean, even one of the Gracies, I think one of his cousins or brothers, was very critical afterwards on Twitter and just saying, you know what, like, that is just unacceptable. I mean, he doesn't really do anything. He just pulls guard.
We saw all he was against Charles Jourdain, and that was a embarrassing performance.
Yeah. So yeah, big win for Bryce Mitchell. I'm glad he's back in the win column in that featherweight division.
That was a feel-good moment for him, though, especially that he did say level-headed. He was saying that, with losses, I don't want to be too down, and with wins, I don't want to be too ecstatic. So I want to keep an even keel. He'll do good in baseball. Want to keep
100%. And maybe we see him against Doo-Ho Choi, the Korean Superboy. I mean, what a fucking performance. I mean, we're fans of Nate Landwehr, and I think he's great on the mic. But man, Doo-Ho Choi put on a clinic for 3 rounds, and then he
can take a shot, but he takes a lot of them. And Doo-Ho Choi is known to deliver a lot.
I mean, what crisp boxing! Dude, I mean, it was insane, Joe.
And it seems he's, back in the day off the Cub Swanson fight, we talked about losses that you receive in your career. That was where he was having difficulty fighting off his back foot. But go ahead and now incorporate Doo-Ho Choi with his ability to fight on the front foot, and now being able to fight moving backwards. He might have figured it out a little bit later in his career. So, man, we might have to see a reemergence for Doo-Ho Choi.
Yeah, it was insane. And then he does call out Bryce Mitchell. Would you like to see that moving forward?
I do think that the UFC is in favor of Bryce Mitchell. So
they like him.
I do think that he might be in the A side in that situation, and it would be up to him if he'd want to take that fight. I think, God willing, he'd be able to take any fight. But like I said, the ball's in his court, and he could deny something like that and maybe move to a more favorable matchup, because he's done the UFC a lot of favors, Bryce Mitchell has.
Hall of Famer Doo-Ho Choi. Let's not forget it. He's in one of the wings. With
that's
one
the
of
fight I was talking about. Exactly.
Yeah, with Cub Swanson. Let's go to the prelims. I thought prelims were very interesting. You got to feel for Anthony Lionheart Smith here. That's very tough. I mean,
Dominic Reyes, though, on the other end comes back, man. 2 back-to-back KO finishes. Like, he's found his footing again.
Yeah. I got chills just now, just thinking about what he dealt with leading up to this fight. Even taking the fight after his best friend, his head coach, winds up passing away. The whole week he had a heavy heart. And you saw him take it off, and he said, like, that probably, we don't know, but I mean, Dana White, we're not in the business of retiring fighters, but Dana White did call for him, Clay Guida, and who else? And Chris Weidman to retire. So I also don't like that. We'll talk about that in a little, but I don't like, let them retire on their own, because sometimes this is the only way for them to make money for their family. They don't know anything else sometimes. So I really don't like, I'm not in the business. Let them retire on their own. I don't like, especially your boss. Like, imagine Anthony Smith after dealing what he just dealt with, then losing and getting knocked out, and then having your boss say, yeah, you should retire.
That's a lot.
That's a lot, bro. Like, that's kind of rough. So
Let
you feel for Anthony Smith,
at
though.
the time, address everything, get past this loss, and then come back. I'm sure Anthony Smith has a lot more to offer other than just fighting. It seems that he can definitely be a coach, become a coach, is filling, his coach's footsteps, which would definitely be a hard thing. But I'm sure looking down, his best friend would want him to maybe do something like that. And I'm sure he will do great as a color commentary for, the analyst.
Yeah, he is great at commentating. I'll say that as well. So hopefully there is a opportunity there in the future for him there. But like you said, Dominic Reyes, that's 2 in a row. He's up to number 11 in that light heavyweight division. What do you see next for him? He's trying to make one last run at that title, but what do you see? Maybe a Nikita Krylov, Volkan Ozdemir? Like, there's some fights up there for him.
Yeah. Oh man, dude. I don't know. Like, have him fight that Bogdan dude that fought Guskov, Bogdan Guskov. He's ranked in the top 15 as well. I don't know. He could fight up a little bit. Man, you got a couple of the guys in that top 5 who are kind of surging towards the title. So I don't know if maybe Carlos Ulberg needs another fight, or is he ready to fight a top 5 guy?
We have news on that. He has a fight, so we'll see.
We'll see.
Performance of the night, Vicente Luque. What a submission. Just took 52 seconds. Hand up. That was one of the worst picks I've ever given out on the show. Tarimba Garimbo just fucking, he no-showed.
He sold. I just don't think that he's, we doubted Vicente Luque, how he looked against Joaquin Buckley. We thought that he went in the fetal position and kind of gave up. But looking back, I mean, he was still trying to fight off his back. He was still in it. So it was just, he got hurt. He got hurt really badly from Buckley. And that may be, foreshadowing what's going into, this weekend. But I think whatever he got yet again there, he gave it to Themba Garimbo. He hit him with that one straight pot shot, and Themba felt it throughout his body, bro. And it just dropped him. And then Vicente Luque, bro, if you leave yourself in a vulnerable position, he's going to go in for the kill, because that's what Luque's always been. He's been a killer. So, yeah, Jersey boy, born and raised, Brazilian guy. He's back in the win column, and that's not the last we've seen of Vicente Luque. Nor Themba Garimbo, but I'm going to be very cautious about betting him ever again.
Movsar Evloev gets the split decision win against Aljamain Sterling. Another one where maybe I have to stop scoring fights. I'm so addicted to scoring fights in real time, especially if I have action on it.
Yeah.
But kid, I gave rounds 2 and 3, and I thought there was an argument for round 1, like the takedowns. But I think, watching it back, I think the last few takedowns, Movsar Evloev, the last few minutes,
kind of sealed it
for him. And I was like,
That's what I said. I said Aljo can't let another takedown happen. I mean, he's in the. But man, as soon as that, I was like, damn, bro.
Yeah, that was unfortunate.
Is slick, bro. I mean, he's intelligent.
He's good,
but it is a little frustrating to watch, because you want to see, with his level of ability and his athleticism, you're going to at least choke some people out. Get some finishes, at least if it's the submission. I mean, hell, Bryce Mitchell's doing that, and you just saw him knock someone out. So yeah. I think that's what we want from Movsar a little bit. That's why I booed him. I just want to see more excitement out of there, because if he's going to get up to the higher level of competition, and then we're just going to see these type of fights occur, I mean, you're going to lose some viewership. I hate to say that. UFC's got to be very weary on when they want to promote him.
He is undefeated, though, and he said, hey, no problem. If the UFC doesn't want to give me a title shot, I'll just keep winning until they give it to me. Who do you think is next for Ilia Topuria? Because I do think it's Volkanovski, but after that, he's talking about moving up to lightweight.
I heard that he might not even fight Volkanovski, that he might want to go up to the lightweight division. He's weighing like 190 pounds now. So, I mean, I could leave open a vacant featherweight title where, I mean, Movsar could compete for it. Right? Or do you
him and Volkanovski?
Yeah, or do you throw him against Diego Lopez again? I mean, right? Does Diego Lopez have a matchup? Probably not.
No, not yet.
So, man, maybe right now both primed at top 5 in the division. Maybe you could just have those two guys fight to kind of end it all be all. Remember, Diego Lopez, a day or two notice to fight this dude who's been having a full camp. Now you give Diego Lopez a full count. I give him a great shot if they fought because of the finishing ability compared to Mosvar's.
Do you think? Wow. So breaking news just now. Brave FC 91 is going on right now. And the Punisher, Muhammad Mokaev, he improves to 13-0. He gets it done in less than 2 minutes via Darce choke. Bring him back. I'm telling you.
Sign him, bro. I mean, that ticket would have been live. It wouldn't have been classic fighting Pantoja. It would have been Mokaev versus Pantoja.
It's unfortunate. But who do you think might be next? Because I agree. I think Mosar Evloev is one fight away from that title fight.
Yeah, and I don't know if I'm fair about Diego Lopez, man. I really do. I do think that's fair. You know, I mean, how are we looking at like Arnold Allen still? Is he in the mix, right? Yeah. We haven't seen Yair Rodriguez, but he took a drop after Mosvar got that win. You know, Aldo didn't improve. But I mean, you know, Laurent Murphy's technically undefeated. They're knocking at the door. There's a lot going on in the featherweight division. It will make it even more interesting if Topuria does move out.
Another one where, you know, I think it went the wrong way. Rude Boy, I think he got really fucked. I thought he runs round 2 and 3. Brian Battle, I think round one. But, you know, I just think, forget the fight real quick, Joe. I think there needs to be a stricter and more stringent punishment than 30% because these fighters don't care. These fighters are eating it. And he weighed over 200. Like, he was massive in that cage. I don't know if you were watching it, but he looked way bigger than Randy Brown. And I think it's kind of disrespectful. Randy Brown has never missed weight. He signed on the dotted line and said, you know what? I agree to come in on weight. You called me and your management let me know as I was walking on the scale. Like, that's a slap in the face. Like, you didn't even give me 24 hours, so we could have agreed to a catch weight. Yeah. And then Brian Battle the next day or on the following Monday goes out and says, you know what, if I was Randy Brown, I probably wouldn't have taken the fight.
Nah, I actually like, that's why you can see people like Brian Battle because he has got some sort of personality, man. Like,
he's a heel.
He's playing a heel part right now so well, dude. It's fantastic to see, dude.
But do you think his stock died a little bit? Because when you go from France and flipping the bird to now this, it leaves a bad taste in people's mouth.
Yeah, exactly. I think it may have slowed the momentum that he was building up towards it. And for sure, his next fight, if he wants to stay in the UFC's good grace, he's going to have to make weight. Or they might ask him to move up. I think they may have him on a short leash if he's going to keep playing this part and, you know, showing the ego that he has on the mic talk and the post fight. You know, like you said, playing the heel very well. We'll see if that comes into favor for him with the UFC. Yeah,
very unfortunate because I thought Randy Brown did enough.
Bro, the only fight I didn't watch was Chris Weidman getting knocked. I just couldn't do it. I'm glad I was out. Whatever.
I was about to say I'm glad you didn't see it because I thought he looked good in the first round. I thought, you know, apparently Ray Longo, everyone said, you know, he looked good in the back. You know, he wasn't really nervous. He was looking good hitting the pads. And 4 minutes into the second round. You just got to go and watch it. It wasn't good.
I didn't see it.
And in front of his family and kids.
TKO, or he was out cold?
It was TKO, but it still wasn't the best.
He doesn't have luck in New York in his backyard, bro. He'd rather fight in New Jersey. You know, undefeated record there.
But like I said, Dana White, he did call for Clay Guida, who lost via submission to Chase
I can't
Hooper.
take away too much from Clay Guida there. I think this is an evolution of Chase Hooper. The dude looks slick, bro. He looked like a man, right? Bro, we saw Chase Hooper literally grow up in the octagon and taking as much damage that he had on the feet growing up to now being the one delivering it. Chase Hooper has reached a new gear in his career.
100%. But overall, I thought it was a really good card, kid. How did you do overall?
Yeah, I did fairly well. You know, I didn't want to consider the two robberies, but we did. And so the overall record is 9-5. So we're, you know, profitable. We're in the green. We hit some dogs. And on top of that, I went 2-0 on parlays. So both the KO TKO parlays with Kennedy Ngannou and Dominic Reyes hit, but then also the 3 picks. Luckily with Cyril Gane, but Bryce Mitchell, Cyril Gane, and Pantoja gave us the 3-legger.
Thank God you hit something. I couldn't hit anything to save my life. 2-6. I got the main event right, and I got Bryce Mitchell right. Outside of that, Got robbed twice with Volkov, and hey, things could have went my way, and with Aljamain Sterling as my dog, but yeah, some bad breaks. Grimbo didn't show up at all. Nate Landwehr got fucking hosed for 3 rounds as well, and I took a flyer on Ian Machado Gary, and I thought he fought a really good fight. So
it was live. I thought it was worth a pick.
Yeah, not the worst, but thankfully you held your own and held the own for us as well. So yeah, last pay-per-view on the card, kid, and last fight tomorrow, December 14th in lovely Tampa Bay, Florida. But before we get to that, we have a quick word from our sponsor. We are brought to you each and every episode by Viva Tequila Seltzer, the most refreshing hard seltzer on the market, hands down. It's no wonder why Viva was voted #1 hard seltzer in the world by San Francisco World Spirit Competition. With only 88 calories, 0 carbs, 0 sugar, and a light 4.5 ABV. Viva is the perfect drink for your post-game celebration, as it was created with that active lifestyle in mind. We flavor tequila seltzer because flavor is the spice of life, and we like our drinks with just a kick, just like how we like our lives. Whether it's Huckleberry playing a round of golf with the boys or Elderberry watching UFC Tampa, it doesn't matter. Our favorites pair perfectly with that Artisanal Blanco tequila for that subtle and refreshing drink. Our belief here at Axe Kick Picks and at Viva is to live long, live well, and live it up. All right, kid, let's go down to lovely Florida. All 26 athletes competing did make weight within the first hour of the 2-hour window. So
love to hear that.
All professionals, kid.
More of that.
But I'll let you lead it off, kid. What do you got here for UFC Tampa? Last card.
Yeah, last event of the year for the UFC, man. It'll kick off in the women's strawweight division. Piara Rodriguez is a plus 205 dog here in this spot against Josephine Knudsen at minus 225. I don't have an official play. I didn't really lean any which way, but I do think the odds are right. Josephine Knudsen is a very veteran, hasn't fought in the UFC all too long. I think it's going to be her second fight only. And Piara Rodriguez, as game as she is, as much as the dog she has, may be outclassed here. So that's why I wanted to stay away because, like you said, can't put a measurement on heart and determination, but sometimes skills do come out and shine. So we'll move on to the men's bantamweight division where Dangerous Davy Grant is minus 110 against Ramon Tavares, a Dana White Contender Series alum, who's also minus 110. So this is a pick'em fight. D-Rock, who are you picking?
Yeah, not a favorite anymore. You could get Ramon Tavares at plus money. Money is coming in on the other way, but kid, I'm surprised this fight is this low. It might be one of my favorite fights on the card and one of my favorite plays. Yeah. Give me Ramon Tavares. I got him at even money. I see him at plus 102. Shop around. He's shown superb boxing in the UFC, in the Contender Series. His hands are sharp. He knows how to put on the pace on people. While, Davy Grant, he's always been good. He's fallen in love with his hands a little too bit, I think, in my eyes. And, while that has helped him in some fights, I don't think that's good. I'm not sure how a 38-year-old can do against Ramon Tavares and to keep up in this one. I think he's going to put the pace on him. I think a knockout is very live here as well. But I'm going to take the plus money here as a little short puppy. But to lead it off, give me Ramon Tavares on the money line straight up.
I like it. Yeah, I'm expecting actually a very exciting matchup between those two. Ramon Tavares, so far what I've seen, he goes out there and brings it. And Davy Grant, he always goes out there and puts his life on the line, it seems, dude. He goes out there to kill or be killed. It really does. And what concerns me is Tavares has gotten caught in the first round a couple times. And like I said, Davy Grant throwing himself in the fire like that. He could, like you said, fall in love with his hands, could find that knockout, but it goes both ways. So I like picking the dog as early as you have there. So let's move on to another fight in the women's flyweight division. Miranda Maverick's back, man. They have her as a minus 550, taking on Jamie Lynn Horth at plus 515. Now, you know how a lot of people, like to see the dog in the women's fight. And the thing is, Jamie Lynn Horth, she's a lot bigger than Miranda Maverick. When they get on there, and you may see the weigh-ins later, you're going to see Jamie Lynn Horth tower over Miranda Maverick. Will that come into play? I don't know. As much as I might be tempted to play the plus 515, Miranda Maverick does tend to be a parlay killer, whether she's the one doing the killing or if she's the one that kills it for you. So in that case, I'm going to stay away. I have no official play for this women's matchup. So now one of my favorite fighters seems to move up a weight class. Now this is a featherweight fight for Miles Johns. Plus 215. He's taking on Felipe Lima.
He's a dog.
It's 225. And yeah, man, Lima is an absolute dog. And I think, they're looking at his past performances, getting the submission victory that he did. But how much of a class is he on the feet? We know Miles John to be just skillful when it comes to his boxing, crisp combinations, having a gas tank, and he is so feisty when it comes to accepting takedowns. He doesn't allow them. His takedown defense is one of the highest in the bantamweight division, though they are fighting at 145. So I got to play a dog here, as D-Rock went and played a dog earlier in one of those fights. Gonna do it here. I don't like Miles John at plus 215. Just he's a little more experienced in the UFC, has seen a lot of fights throughout his career, and he may not have to cut as much weight. So, it might actually favor him in a surprising matchup with being a dog against Felipe Lima. So, yeah, I'm taking Miles John's plus 215. Let's have the dogs bark early.
Wow.
And now we move to a featherweight matchup. Same weight class, but it's like the sniper, Sean Woodson at minus 140, taking on El Volante, Fernando Padilla at plus 150. I guess I'm a little biased in this one. Sean Woodson sometimes rubs me the wrong way. I mean, I just see a couple of his fights that he has come out on the top of the decision, and they were very controversial. So whether it's him getting the benefit of the doubt or finding out one little, teep kick to just hurt one liver shot, and he found a way to victory there with the TKO finish. Like, I'm finding Sean Woodson to be on the lucky side of a lot of these outcomes. I think that luck stops here. Fernando Padilla is vicious, man. Yeah. And whether it hits the mat, he could find a finish with submissions, or if it stays standing, I think the length that he possesses will match it well with Sean Woodson, who does take advantage of his length and reach a lot of the times. That's not going to come to a factor here. I think it's going to even out, and I'm going to go with the more skillful guy who's got a bigger heart. Give me Fernando Padilla at plus 150, another dog.
I love it, kid. I was leaning him as well. He's coming off a Darce choke finish. I think considering his grappling roots, maybe if you only look at his record, facing Sean Woodson, who has been stopped by submission by Julian Erosa via Darce choke, those long arms, plus 700 via submission for Padilla is live.
Keep an eye out for that. Now let's go to the next fight, man. This is he's got fight of the night written all over it, to be honest with you. If Drakkar Klose comes in here heated, bro, I mean, he's gonna bring the fight to Joel Alvarez. Joel Alvarez is gonna be there. You know it, dude. He's favorited. Joel Alvarez at minus 400. Drakkar Klose is kind of a big dog, plus 380. D-Rock in this lightweight division. Is the dog barking in this?
Oh, I think the dog stopped barking real quick. I mean, Alvarez, he has 21 career wins. He also happens to have 21 career stoppages. Do you see a pattern? Absolutely. I do. I mean, this guy just goes in there and finishes a guy who Elvis Brenner, who's never been taken out until Joel Alvarez got to him. So, the line is so close because, inside the distance, I took a minus 130, by the way. So I think people trust the durability of Drakkar Klose. However, I think it's important to remember that even Beneil Dariush KO'd him. So on that note, I am going to take Joel Alvarez. I think he goes 22 for 22 inside the distance. I think he finishes Drakkar Klose.
So you got him inside the distance?
Yeah, minus 130.
I think that's a very safe play because a submission, you could see about 80% of the time Joel Alvarez hunts for him and he gets them. So he's very successful when it comes to the submissions, but he is not afraid to stand up on the feet. And Drakkar Klose, like you said, with that knockout finish he lost to Beneil Dariush, it was a brawl. And if Klose is going to do that, Joel Alvarez, I don't think he's scared. And Joel Alvarez may knock him out. So I'm going to go specific. I'm going to take El Fenomeno via KO TKO at plus 275 because I just think with the size, the dude's massive. We talked about length and reach with a lot of other fights. It's going to be a big factor here. Drakkar Klose is going to have to play in the pocket, the clinch, and be in close. And if he can't close that distance, which Joel Alvarez wouldn't care because he has the submissions in his back pocket, I think sooner or later Joel Alvarez will find the chin. So this dude is a dark horse in the lightweight division. I was
just going to say, if you think Joel Alvarez is a dark horse, because I do.
He absolutely, and he could find his way to get number 15 here and be ranked. Maybe not, but dude,
maybe
future champ in my eyes.
I agree. I think he's special, kid. I really do.
Dude, Spain, they got a lot of guys coming up. He's one of them. So we go into, an OG fight I like to see. Lightweight division, Michael Johnson's back. He's minus 210 against Ottman Azaitar. The Bulldozer at plus 200. And D-Rock, you might not like my pick here.
The Moroccan?
I got to go with a dude whose nickname is the Bulldozer because I think he may bulldoze victory. Whether he, stays on the feet, he does seem a little durable, though he's gotten caught. If he does take this down, Michael Johnson's in for a long night. So with just maybe a little bit of an inch, maybe in a game of inches, just like in football, chance to win, I'm going to go with the dog again and take Otman Azaitar. As much as I like Michael Johnson, I had to take my heart out of this because my heart was betting him all the way. So I went with the mental bet, and let's take the dog, Otman Azaitar.
Wow. Yeah, we're going to be on opposite sides. I'm going back to the dogs. Give me Michael Johnson to win via KO, TKO at plus 120. I mean, the gas tank for Otman has been well documented. Yeah. It's been one of the worst out there. He looked completely gassed in his last fight, getting TKO in the last fight, and it only lasted 4 minutes. Now he's stepping in against Michael Johnson, who, I'll be fair, his best days are behind him. But even though Johnson has always been able to put up the pace for 15 minutes, and he's particularly durable. For most of the times, he is durable. So as long as Otman, gets to work early, I think he should cruise to a stoppage for Michael Johnson here. So I'm going to go TKO for Michael Johnson at plus 120.
Prop hunting, man. And I appreciate you looking there because question is, what Michael Johnson are we getting this weekend? Are we getting, when he puts up the lackluster performance, or we're going to see the Michael Johnson who absolutely puts on one of the best performances we've seen all year? And we can argue this guy should even get a title shot, even with off of one. Like every time we see Michael Johnson put up a massive dub, he puts on a lights out performance. You're like, this dude could win the title at whatever age he is and as many losses as he has. So it's just a question of which Michael Johnson will get, and may the best man win in that one.
Yes, sir.
For the next
main
fight,
card,
we're in the main card, the beginning of UFC Tampa. Well, man, not much known about this guy, but in the light heavyweight division, Navajo Sterling, man, the New Zealander, if I'm correct, he's minus 750 taking on Tuco Tokos, who's kind of been a placeholder, man. I hate to, say that about a fighter. I mean, he's fighting for himself, for his friends, family, for his honor and all that. But I mean, odds aren't making him. Analysts aren't making him. He's plus 665, man. I myself don't see him having a shot here. But those are the times that, they come out and win. They ruin parlays. They burn parlays. He comes out and whoever cashed that ticket are laughing all the way to the bank. But am I ballsy enough to do that? No, I'm going to have to take the Dana White Contender Series alum who I've seen knock out a lot of guys previous to that. And I think he could keep the train rolling here. So best way to squeeze the minus 750 down is to take a prop and just got to go with precedent. Sterling, Navajo Sterling is via KO TKO is going to happen more likely than not. That's why it's favored at minus 180. So give me the New Zealander in that one.
Let's go.
Now we move on to the bantamweight division, and an undefeated Peruvian spells trouble for your boy, Daniel Marcos, minus 200, taking Adrian Yanez at plus 195. D-Rock, I'll hand this off to you.
Kid, I'm flustered. The public disrespect on Adrian Yanez is kind of insane to me. This line opened nearly even money. It's ballooned up to this point. I'm not sure why, with just 3 fights for Marcos, which was an ugly split against a guy we just talked about in Davey Grant. Yes. Meanwhile, Adrian Yanez, 7-2 in the UFC's only lost to a super high level competition fighters. I think he has the power advantage, and I think this one should be a striking. I think he's going to keep it on the feet. I mean, plus 180, kid. I got to go the dog. Give me Andre Yanez.
I'm on the same side because it's exactly what you said. It's most likely going to be a stand-up battle, and I think it could be split down the middle, 50-50. The difference maker could be the power that Adrian Yanez possesses. So you analyze this fight right to a T. That's what I see. Daniel Marcos, he does have good, efficient boxing, but he just seems to lack the power to get guys out of there. Adrian Yanez, you saw it time and time again. He's knocking fools out. So I could see that trend continuing for him and getting back on right track. He had that hype going. We had a very high trajectory of him, and it got derailed a little bit. But here he goes, knocking an undefeated prospect out in this weight class. And, I mean, he's just going to right the ship again. So Adrian Yanez, plus 195, I saw him taking another dog.
It opened up even money. Now he's a minus 250 favorite. That I'm zigging when people are zagging. I'm sorry. 100%. I just don't see it.
Yeah. And you see the public or, the books like one way, you want to go ahead and fade them, and it tends to help you out most of the time.
By the way, all these lines that Joey and I are saying and what we got, they're all subject to change. I want to make that point. And I think a good website that you could find are fightodds.io. They have all the books. You get the best lines, whether it's via inside the distance, submission, whatever you want to pick. They have all the books. So whatever we say, don't take it for face value. That's what we got.
Yeah,
so I just want to make that clear.
There's plenty of websites out there that'll give you an array of options and covers the plethora sports books that are out
I'll
there.
say
because
this, Joe. Best fight odds are a little late. FightOdds.io is just a
and more
little
up to
better.
date. Absolutely, yes. But there are some that I might be missing here and there,
Yeah,
like
100%.
Fight Matrix and you name it. They're going to have odds posted up there, and I like reading some of the articles that they have because
100%.
they're dedicating their time to it, and it's going to help you guys out when it comes to picking a side.
They're educated journalists who dedicate their lives to mixed martial arts. So I just wanted to make that note, Joe, because I've gotten messages like, "Where'd you get this number?" Mind you, I get some of these lines at like Tuesday, Wednesday,
Yes,
and
exactly.
we record on Friday. So that's why I want to say they're subject to change.
Sometimes you don't even get odds out. Like PFL is notoriously known for.
Don Davis.
You got to fight tomorrow, and the odds are dropped, and it's like, what the hell? UFC had the drops last week. They have even perspective, like Conor McGregor fighting Islam odds are out, and that's not going to happen. So it's at least.
I just wanted to say that. I'm sorry.
Battling the last bit of a cough, it's leaving my body. So now
good.
we're locked in to an exciting matchup for the light heavyweight division, man. Dustin Jacoby, the high neck, is plus 300, man. People are getting him out, and I don't see why, because Vitor Petrino at minus 315 is something you got to be worried for, because we just saw Anthony Smith. Granted, there's a couple fights between that last one, but his last fight out was a guillotine loss to Anthony Smith, and that worries me, man. You can't lay a guy at minus 315 after coming off a loss like that, and against a Dustin Jacoby, who's going to be more durable on the feet. And granted, he struggles with wrestlers, but man, has fought the who's who in kickboxing. He's very, savvy when it comes to stand up. And if Vitor Petrino is going to want to try to knock this dude out, I think he's going to be in for a long night, because Dustin Jacoby could just school on him, man, with the level of striking that he possesses. But I think where you see it levels out is the wrestling. If Vitor Petrino does, hunt for that takedown, will Dustin Jacoby allow it and get in there? But man, last event of the year for the UFC, your boy is dog hunting. I see Dustin Jacoby as live as can be in the spot. I'm taking the plus 300 odds here. Give me the Hanya.
Wow.
Yeah.
Love it.
So the featured bout of UFC Tampa is in a flyweight division, man. And could be a make or break for the weight class, because Manel Kape is surging and looking for a title shot. He's minus 330 taking on a Bruno Silva, who's an absolute dog and living up to his nickname, the Bulldog, plus 330. Bro, man, am I going to fade Manel Kape in a spot? Have I ever faded Manel Kape? I think I have.
No. I think once.
I think one time, and I think I was right with that. But going back to the well, no, I will not be fading Manel Kape. I like to do it on the mic. I like to do it on the feet. He's a very explosive guy. Bruno Silva's going to just want to be like Vitor Petrino. Get this fight to the ground and use his jiu-jitsu. Will that take place? Man, at 125 pounds, it is not easy to get a dude down and hold him there. They're so squirmy. Speed kills. And I feel like even if that does happen, I think Manel Kape will find his way to his feet and find a finish. I'm going to go with Manel Kape via KO TKO at plus 300. If he gets him out of there early, expect a Manel Kape title shot. Now in the co-main event, it is in the featherweight division. A bunch of featherweight fights, and I'd like to see, but this has got to be an OG fight for the fans and for the fighters themselves. Killer Cub Swanson is a plus 130 dog taking on Billy Quarantillo. Billy Q is back at minus 145. Through the years, I've always loved Cub, and he's a fighter's fighter. He goes out there and he puts on performance after performance, and he's just always been there for you. So for your entertainment, you're going to get a very exciting fight when he goes out there. And, obviously his prime is a little past him, but could we see a resurgence here? I don't know. I mean, the odds that both of these guys are supposed to get a win is very likely. The past 5 fights between both Billy Q and Cub, it's been back and forth. Win, loss, win, loss, win, loss. So right now, I think both guys coming off of a loss, they're supposed to both get a win here, but only one can. I think the level of competition coming off Billy Q, I think that he can get the win here. I just think that does play a big factor into who you fought last. And, I think there is something to be said about the universe and you receiving that type of, that there's the vibration from the other. As we saw with Bryce Mitchell, everything he took from Josh Emmett, man, he gave it back. So I feel like Cub Swanson not fighting the highest level competition prior to this, and Billy Q fighting, who was it, Edson Barbosa, right? And I just think that it's a higher level of competition. And so, man, I think Billy Q is the right side. I'll play him straight up minus 145 when I saw it on the money line, because who knows how this fight can go, where it'll wind up. And I would hate to see anything other than either guy coming out victorious, but something tells me, man, this could be a weird kind of fight where like a DQ could come into play.
Oh, wow.
So just keep an eye out for that. I don't know if y'all are willing to play a draw. You know, you can get some major.
What are we? This is soccer?
But yeah, brother. I mean, I'm just all over the place with this fight, but I got to play the slight favorite, and I got to play off who he fought last. And you know, the trends are saying that he can get a win. So give me Billy Q.
Is this Billy Q's last fight at home in Tampa?
Oh, who knows? You know, it might
just go sell houses.
It might be. Even if he wins, he might not get another fight in Tampa. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He might be.
They needed to put him in Tampa.
Yeah. So respect to both fighters in that co-main event slot. Kind of a legacy fight for the two, but you know, let's see if Colby Covington continue his legacy, or if Joaquin Buckley will establish his here in the welterweight division. Colby Covington is kind of counted out. He's plus 235 dog taking on New Mansa, who's a minus, and rightfully so, minus 230 favorite. So D-Rock, I'll hand this off to you for the main event. Who are you taking?
Can Joaquin Buckley make it 4 for 4 in 2024? Stephen Thompson, he knocked out Vicente Luque, Nursultan Rusenbach.
Yeah.
He unanimous decision win over him as well.
Fighter of the year?
Maybe my fighter of the year. No, he can't be. I mean, it has to be Pereira. Yeah. little tease for next week. But you know, we need some action here on the main event. But like you said, I think rightfully so. He's a big favorite. Just too much juice to lay on Buckley money line. But I gave you a lot of plus money here. I can't take the dog here. I can't trust Colby Covington, especially on short notice after that last performance. You know, as a result, the way I played this fight is Joaquin Buckley to win via KO TKO at plus 140. Yeah, I mean, everyone's making the case Colby Covington is durable. He could go all 5 rounds, and sure, I think he's known for being durable, but he hasn't faced this big of a power puncher in a long time. And Buckley, he's shown some high-level wrestling as of late. I think a ground and pound TKO doesn't seem out of the question either. Give me Joaquin Buckley, and maybe he goes and fights Ian Machado Gary after this fight. Love Joaquin Buckley. Give me TKO. KO TKO at plus 140.
Yeah, and if I may be, you know, burying the lead a little bit, if you may ask me who's my lock, he's my lock, brother. I don't think Colby Covington has a shot in this one.
He's just talking like he is.
Yeah, of course, that's his game, you know, and he's great at it. And I was entertained by listening to his pre-fight. You know, it was great. But, you know, it's a little bit of delusion at this point, especially where he is in his career, especially in that last outing. His performance in his last just, you know, dropped his stock. But obviously the UFC still believes in him. The fact that he can promote an event to the hell of it. And this could be a good stepping stone for Joaquin Buckley. You know, New Mansa needs a guy like this to kind of promote him up a little bit more. So getting a win over Colby Covington will mean the world for him in his career. And like you said, I mean, it wasn't Ian Gary supposed to fight Colby Covington, but they said they're never going to fight. So, boom, Buckley just eliminates Colby from contention. And, yeah, the door opens up for Buckley fighting Gary or, you know, whoever may be next and getting into that title picture. So, you know, I know that the KO TKO is definitely live. I don't know if a submission is possible. You know, Colby Covington, I don't know how willing he is to accept a submission if it gets to that point. Arm triangle, something like that. I don't see him being in that spot to receive a submission loss. The KO TKO, yes, it's live. But if Buckley can't, you know, close the show on either end of that, the decision to me is live. I think the unanimous decision for Joaquin Buckley is absolutely the most likely outcome here. So just to play the prop for New Mansa is to take him via decision at plus 175 because, you know, obviously he could get inside the distance, will, you know, be fair. But, you know, I want to get a little more juice worth the squeeze. And I just see that Buckley being able to piece him up on the outside, maybe throwing in some of those kicks. If it's anything going to get Colby Covington out of here, it's going to be highlight worthy. Yeah. Will we see that? I
hope.
I kind of hope, but I wasn't willing to put my money on it. And so that's why I'll just take the safe way out, and maybe a little boring, but like I said, Joaquin Buckley is the lock, regardless of how you play it. I'm just going to play it as a straight up bet via decision at plus 175.
Joe, thank you. You mentioned it. Lock and dog. Lock is Joaquin Buckley. Give me your dog.
You know who my dog is. Miles Johns, baby. That's my dog. That's my dog, my dog. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
My dog.
Yeah. I just think that, you know, like I said, being moved up weight class might actually work in favor for him. Yeah. And, you know, one of the bigger plus money odds, I'm more confident putting him in this segment.
My lock, I'm going to go, my boy, dark horse in that lightweight division. Give me Joel Alvarez inside the distance at minus 130. 21 up, 21 down. He will make it 22 against Darko Close. For my lock, for my dog, kid, I gave you a lot of plus money. I was even
Yes.
thinking Fernando Padilla via submission plus 700, Adrian Yanez plus 180. But give me Michael Johnson plus 120. I think he knocks out your boy Ottoman.
Yeah.
I love it. Plus 120. We're either going to see
Performance?
the best Michael Johnson
Yes.
or we're going to see the worst Michael
Performance of a lifetime. And I'm hoping for it. I hope
Yeah.
that hits. I just did it, I didn't it's just that. Am I going to see the worst version of Michael Johnson, or are we going to get your pick that hits the best version of Michael Johnson? We'll find out in the next episode of the UFC Tampa.
UFC Tampa. What's going on? In Shape Street Fighter. Run it back. Yeah, we just got done giving out our plays. A lot of plus money here on a Friday the 13th. Joe, before we get to 10 seconds left, we got some news about 30 minutes, 40 minutes before we got on. Cage Warriors woman bantamweight champion Kenny Freeman, 6-0. She signed with the UFC. She is the daughter of the UFC legend Ian the Machine Freeman. Thoughts on that?
Who? Bro, wait, hold on. Kennedy Freeman, she just won the title for Cage Warriors?
Yes, she is
Okay.
6-0 in the bantamweight
Yeah, I remember
division.
her. I don't remember her dad.
Yeah, he's a legend. The Machine Freeman.
What? Oh my god, man. I'm drawing a blank, dog. I gotta brush up on that.
I was
I'm
just going to
embarrassed.
say, because, Joe, you've been following it 15, 20 years, kid. I mean, way more than I have. But what about that bantamweight division? She moves into a bantamweight division with Juliana Pena, obviously going to fight Kayla Harrison in 2025. You obviously got Rocky there. Big Norm. Don't count out Big Norm just yet. But, I mean, that's a nice division in that bantamweight division. What do you think she could do in that division?
Man, I mean, she could definitely do a lot. Oh, brother, yo, you're taking me back to 2003, bro. Holy snap. This dude is, bro, he was fighting on like when the ring was dark. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they didn't have the best production. Bro, but who he fought, bro? Andrei Arlovsky.
Legend.
Yeah, Frank Mir. He beat Frank Mir. He fucked
Yeah.
up Frank Mir. You lost to Melvin Manhoef and Cage Rage. And that's why I think as you see later part, he's fighting in lower ranked promotions. But man, that early 2000, man, when the UFC was crazy and there wasn't a lot of weight classes. Yeah, he was in there. I do see his face. He does look familiar. And I do remember his daughter competing as well. That recently is like 2 weeks ago, and she won. So yeah,
Cage Warriors champion.
He could do a lot, I do see that sometimes we look at the Cage Warriors coming over and they kind of fall flat on their face, but for the women, for the most part, they've actually have been successful. So
Yeah, I
we'll see
think
if
she'll
that-
be able to hold her own in the bantamweight division, and I like
Absolutely.
it. It's bringing new life, new juice into the division.
Inject us new blood. That's right.
Yeah, let's fucking go. We got some fights announced for UFC London. You mentioned it at the top of the show, UFC London. Obviously, it looks like it is leaning towards Leon Edwards main eventing that on March 22nd, but we got a top 15 heavyweight showdown. My boy, Mick Parkin,
Love
15th. He's going to take on number 8, Marcin Tabora. That's a big fight in the heavyweight division, kid.
Yeah, Tiber, it was hard to get out of there, man. Like, dude's in it, and he's been in it for like what feels like 15 years now. He's felt like he hasn't aged. He's looked the same, But Mick Parkin, dude, Big Mick is a threat, bro. I think every time he's come out, I mean, he's surprised a lot of us. I like Mick Parkin in that one. It's definitely a proving point. Yeah, I think that he should be favored in there because, he has a lot of options on how to win. He's got good stand-up, and we've seen him now incorporate some wrestling. So, yeah, I like Mick Parkin in that one. I want some new, fresh faces in the top 10, and this is how you do it. If he beats Tybura, he'll be exactly there in the top 10.
Speaking of UFC London, we have another fight in the light heavyweight division. Another Polish fighter, the Polish Power, Jan Blachowicz, will take on Carlos Ulberg to try to get into the top 5. We have lines. Guess whose line is it anyway?
Jan Blachowicz minus 150.
No. Hide your women, hide your wife. Carlos Ulberg minus 198, Jan Blachowicz plus 164.
Wow, dude. Yeah, man.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah, I mean, Carlos Ulberg has to have, his combat history. He has definitely had travel all over the world to compete. So I don't think he's any stranger to that. But so has Jan Blachowicz. And I would think a little
Former
closer.
champion. Let's respect him too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. A little closer to home, you would think that, would have been a slight favorite. Ex-champ, all that. The wrestling, too. I think the fact that he has that in his back pocket. Granted, we saw the submission out of nowhere in the third round by Carlos Ulberg. It's just not his bread and butter. If we find him on his back, it could be a long night. Jan Blachowicz should be favored in my eyes, but I could see why everyone's hiding their kids, their wives.
And then last fight that was announced for UFC London, we have Lonzo Menfield taking on Umar Sy. You like this fight for Zoe?
Omar Sy is taking a who?
Lonzo Menfield.
I do not like this fight for Zoe.
No, why?
Omar Sy is a problem, bro. I think he is a really well-rounded fighter. I think what you see in Cyril Gane, you see in him with a little more finishing capability on the ground. Like his submissions are second to none at that big of a size. So yeah, Umar Sy to me is a massive threat in that heavyweight division. And man, I hate to say it, Alonzo Menfield, though he has that atomic option, the nuclear option, I just don't see it landing. I don't see the impact. I see Omar Sy, if anything, getting him out of there inside the distance. That's what I would lean this early.
It's shaping up to be a very interesting card, UFC London. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
UFC 313, skipping ahead to March 8th. Amanda Lemos will take on Lasmin or Islam Lucindo.
Yasmin Lucindo, yeah.
Yasmin Lucindo. Top 10 fight here, kid. Lucindo trying to get into the top 5 with Amanda Lemos.
Amanda Lemos is a threat, man. You know what I mean? She's got the power on the feet, but I know, man, it's going to be a test. It's absolutely going to be a test to see if she can crack in the top 5. I think not, getting into that pressure, not being there all the time and having a fight in the limelight, it could amount to being too much for you, but we'll see. We'll see if she performs against Amanda Lemos.
Yeah, that strawweight division we'll talk about in just a second. But farewell. We say goodbye to Jack Shore. He has retired. 17-3 professional career record. He did go 6-3 in UFC across the bantamweight and featherweight division. Really good fighter. I thought I got
a lot more out there for the tank.
100%. He quit while he was ahead. He wanted to just focus on his mental health and whatnot. His dad issued a statement. Favorite moment from Jack Shore?
Man, that pressure is it's a lot, being a fighter, cutting weight, you're not just fighting for yourself. You're like, you put it on you that you're fighting for your family, and it's a lot. I think I remember his debut. I think he came out in his debut and he lit it up, bro. I think he had a spectacular finish. I think it was on a London card actually a couple of years ago. So that might be the one that stands out to me. I remember him on a couple of embeddeds as well. So I wish I got to see more of the guy, but you can't knock him for, like you said, calling it while he was ahead, not having to receive all that brain injury, trauma, anything like that. He'll be able to be fresh-minded, and I'm sure he'll continue the legacy like his father down to him. And as we talked about, seems a theme for this show was setting up the next generation of athletes, and that's something he can do.
We have a main event for the UFC Apex 102, February 15th.
We did it.
The Killer Gorilla, Jared Cannonier, will take on Gregory Rodriguez. 5-round middleweight main event. This is a tough one for the Killer Gorilla. I'll say that.
RoboCop's a serious threat. Like, dude is just scary.
I mean, he's not even in the top 15, kid, and he's jumping up to fight number 8 in the middleweight, who not just long ago, he fought Israel Adesanya for the belt.
Man, I think this is a good setup for RoboCop, man. I do. Jared Cannonier is getting older. He's not getting any younger. And though he's looked good at his age in a couple of outings, bro, time moves quick, bro. He may be asking for too much right here. RoboCop, he seems a lot older than he is, but what is he? He's only like 29, 30, right? Something like that. He seems a lot older than he is, but, he can finish it on the ground. He starts you on the feet. I think he's just as big as Jared Cannonier, if not bigger. I'd be favoring RoboCop in this, man. I think he'll make a name for himself on, unfortunately, Jared Cannonier.
Burying the lead here, but it was announced last week on UFC 310 broadcast, but UFC 312 down in the land under Sydney, Australia gets 2 title fights. We have a rematch. Dricus du Plessis will fight Sean Strickland. Can Sean Strickland get a fight fucking in the United States? I don't fucking know. And we have Weili Zhang taking on our girl, Tatiana Suarez. Can you guess whose line is it anyway? For first, the main event, Dracus Duplessis versus Sean Strickland, and then I need a number on Waylay.
I would hate to say it, but main event minus 200 DDP.
Minus 150 DDP. Sean Strickland plus 118. You know, it was razor close, that first one.
You know,
and
one
what
of the
is the
hardest things
co-main
to do
event?
is to beat that same guy twice, and they're doing it in almost back-to-back fights, but still, for Sean, it is. You know, Zhang is definitely going to be the favorite, man. Tatiana Suarez, as much as we were maybe a year early with her being the champion, Weili Zhang has proved herself to be a definitive champion. So I would also go on record to say maybe in the range of minus 200 to minus 300.
Minus 160 for Weili.
They love Tatiana. We knew it.
Plus 140 for Tatiana Suarez.
She's live.
Oh, she is live.
She's big.
Bring her boyfriend too. Patchy, you want to fight?
Come sign with the UFC.
Come
We have a weight
it.
class for you, actually.
Yeah, we got one. Don Davis isn't doing it. We got you, buddy. I love these fights, Joe. Real quick, I love them. I am upset. I'll ask you because I just gave you my answer. Are you upset that they didn't go with Hamza instead of Sean Strickland, or do you think they just promised Sean?
Think it was that. You know, we said Hamzat with that performance, man, he deserves to skip the line, but obviously not. We still got hopes that maybe Sean Strickland could get the job done. But DDP is an absolute warrior, you know. So if he goes out there, defends his belt, I'm sure he'll be like, "Hey, Hamzat, you're next. Not a problem. Let's do it." And Sean, if he wins, I think one of the same. Unless the UFC goes, "Hey, Hamzat,
yeah,
I think you got to wait again. I think we're gonna run this back a third time
for a trilogy."
If Sean wins.
Even DDP came out and said he was unhappy with the UFC and how, first of all, I don't think him and the UFC have that best of a relationship. He's been very critical for some reason, but he said he wanted the Hamzat fight, and he goes, "I will vouch to not make this one as close as the first one was." Low-key rooting for Sean Strickland here.
He should. They should both have that kind of mentality. I hope Sean Strickland goes there to kill.
Now, for the women, for that strawweight division, obviously, I think because Tatiana Suarez was supposed to fight on this card on UFC 310, pushed it back. She will fight in March now. Are you surprised she's getting the title shot?
No,
me either.
Absolutely not.
She
should have had it years ago.
Wow.
But she fought cancer. As you talked about Dickie V to lead the show up, we cheer for those who are now in remission and had fought the ultimate fight. So I think she is nothing but deserved this. You know, as though she's been away a little bit, she was fighting her own battles. And the fact that she has overcome them, give her the shot because there might be another chance that she can get one. So let's see if she can win it against who's been a great champion, Weili Zhang.
Should be a hell of a fight down in Sydney, Australia. That will take place UFC 312. I don't know the date off the February 7th, excuse me. Okay. Real quick before you get to PFL, I know you have picks. They just announced January 25th, Saturday, Road to Dubai, the Champion Series. And I want to read you the fights because, I mean, I'm just lost of words. You got in the main event for the lightweight world title, Usman Nurmagomedov taking on, obviously, the big news, Paul Hughes. We got in the co-main event, Corey Anderson. Shout out Corey Anderson taking on Vadim Nenkov. Kazakhstan Magomed Shaparov taking on Nathan Kelly. You have Kennedy Makohana taking on Ibrahim Ibrahimov. I mean, Joe, what the fuck? No Patchy Mix, no Johnny Eblin, no Pitbull, no Cyborg, no second title. What are we doing here?
Man, I mean, I like the main event. I like Usman,
but that's
Paul
it.
Hughes.
I like Corey Anderson. I like Corey Anderson.
Me too. And Nemkov's a beast, bro. That's gonna be a hell of a fight. He's got his hands full with Vadim Nenkov. You know what I mean?
But no Cyborg Kid, no Patchy, no Johnny Eblin, no Pitbull.
These guys are just
doing?
We're just wasting their primes. Is what we're doing.
Are we just? Is the PFL and I'm taking
shooting themselves in the foot? Yes.
I'm taking a page out of your book because I think you've been a lot more critical, and rightfully so, the PFL. But are they the type of people that just throw shit on the wall and hope it sticks?
It seems like that. You know, I think I would have put a more organized approach into opening up the 2025 calendar year with some big names, you know, because then easily you could say, well, we're ready to have them fight again in the summertime and have them again fight at the end of the year. But now what? We're going to waste these guys' primes and argue whether or not we have a weight class for them and then maybe see them once. Like that's just not
Release
it, bro.
them.
Yeah, I think it's time for these fighters, whether or not they're in contractual hell, like some of the one athletes have been, what they should have is the absolute freedom to move where a promotion wants them. Hell, we're going to talk about the GFL, which got recently promoted and announced, and we're going to do a little more research on that, and we're going to talk about that next week. There's another destination for these fighters.
Yeah. So we'll see a lot out there. But Joe, before 10 seconds left, I had to say that it came across my timeline, and I was just like, wait, what are we doing here? So there you go. 10 seconds left, kid. What do you got?
PFL European champion. So regardless of the controversy going on with them and how critical we are of them, we will talk some fights. I know the tournament has a couple of fights going on, but I'll talk about one of the tournament finales, which is in the lightweight division. Connor Hughes, Cage Warriors guys come over now and fought a couple times for the PFL. He's a dog, plus 200, taking on Jacob Kazuba, minus 250. He as well, Polish regional ranks, then fights for the PFL a little bit, but now has an undefeated record. And, I'm going to stick with Kazuba, the Polish fighter, mixed martial arts, could mix it up. And, Connor Hughes may have some power on the feet, but I just like the more opportunities to win in the way you'd want. So to squeeze that minus 250 down, probably got to take Kazuba by his most common method of victory, which is via decision. No odds dropped for the props yet, but keep an eye out for my pick there. And then for the main event, man, it's a welterweight division matchup between Abdul Abduraguimov, who's a minus 1,200 favorite. I think he's on the right side. Laureano Staropoli, UFC vet, ex-guy. He's fought all over the world, but they're counting him out. Plus 750 dog. I am as well. I don't think he has a shot. Lazy King normally finishes his fight on the ground, but for some reason, Laureano Staropoli does drag you into a brawl. And so maybe we see a little bit of his KO prowess. That would be the Lazy King. So I'm going to take him with the KO TKO finish. No props just posted just yet, but keep an eye out for him. Like I said, the main event, Lazy King via KO TKO, and Jacob Kazuba via decision in the lightweight tournament final for 10 seconds left.
Joe, last few things. I'm sorry. I have them on my mind. I'm on a roll right now.
Get it out.
I mean, the fall off will have to be studied maybe by me or anybody for the PFL. It has to be studied by MMA organizations. PFL acquiring, in my opinion, and correct me if I'm wrong, they've acquired a very good Bellator roster with several elite fighters, and completely fucking it up is a massive blunder to MMA. It has to be. So I don't know. That was my last little rant on the PFL.
You kind of hit it. There's no other choice but to look at that big factual right there. It's written in stone. It's in your face. You can't lie to us anymore, Don Davis. We see right through you.
We see right through you. Last thing on my boy Muhammad Mukayev. He did what he needed to do. Remain humble. Bury the hatchet. Resign with the UFC. And fight Pantoja in Brazil next year. That's the move. No one else besides Kai Kara France could fight you right now. Resign it. You did what you needed to do. You were a big favorite against a guy on short notice. Darce choked him. Now go bury the hatchet, be a promotional guy, and go and fight Pantoja. Am I wrong?
No, I agree with you wholeheartedly.
I'm on a fucking roll, kid.
We don't want to lose these guys' primes. He's in his prime. Let's not ruin these primes. We want to see everyone compete at the highest level.
Kid, any last words? I got everything off my chest. Any last words from you?
That was it. Let's not do these fighters a disservice.
Let's not do them a disservice. Joe, good luck this weekend. Let's finish 2024 with the bang. Next week, big rematch in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. We got Alexander Usyk versus the Gypsy King Tyson Fury, number 2. We'll talk about that. We got our men's and women's pound for pound rankings we have, and maybe next week or the week after we'll do our award show. We'll see if odds are up just yet for the futures. But other than that, good luck. God bless.